This is a way long overdue video, so let's get right into it. This is the Fairy Rise set list, part 2. We're looking at the psychic types. I did part 1, maybe a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I don't even know at this point, but we did look at all the grass types. One of the most featured, if not the most favorite of the grass types in this set will probably be the Sceptile GX, which he looks like an awesome card. He is an awesome card. He's got a lot of nice attacks here, but if you are curious as to what's going on with the grass types, you can look up part 1. I'll try to make one of those end card things here on this video so that way you guys can click on it and it'll take you there. But let's go ahead and look at the psychic types, which has its own set of interesting Pokemon as well. Some sort of like a meme deck, and some that are just overall be a pain for your opponent. But let's go ahead and start with the first one featured here, the Shedinja. Now, at first glance, there's nothing nice about this Shedinja card. It's a stage 1, 40 HP, which is terrible. Retreat cost is 1 is probably like the nicest, or like the most positive thing about this card at first glance. But the ability itself is probably what makes it worth it. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may discard all cards attached to this Pokemon and attach it to one of your Pokemon as a Pokemon tool card. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out, your opponent takes 1 fewer prize cards. 1 fewer prize card. So you can attach it to anyone, really. So like, let's say they knock out a GX. They only take 1 prize card instead of 2. If they attach it to a non-GX, they're not taking any prize cards at all. So this is actually a nice little trick here that in order to stall the game, in order to kind of, aggravate your opponent even more, that you can just attach Shedinja into it, and then they wouldn't know what to do really, other than maybe use a fuel blower. But then if you have like other things like Choice Band or bodybuilding dumbbells or other tool cards that you're using, then obviously they're going to be running out of their fuel blowers. A lot of people are playing a lot of fuel blowers right now, maybe 1, 2 max, and besides that, like, there's no other way to get rid of tool cards. There's not even Pokemon attacks right now that are doing it, that people are using. So yeah, this is actually a kind of interesting card here. I wonder how much play it's going to use. And let's take a look at the art, though. The art is beautiful behind it. It is a little sad, it is a little depressing, but I mean, that's kind of Shedinja right there for you. But I do like the art style to it. So whoever's doing that is pretty awesome. Sableye, I don't think there's anything really to talk about. If you go first, search your deck for 1 card. Yeah, nothing actually interesting about this Sableye. We've had interesting ones in the past that kind of help stall decks and things like that, but this one, it's not that great. No. Giratina. This one is another interesting Pokemon. It's going to be, I think we talk about the partner to this one in this video too, but this one is extremely interesting because it can just rain damage counters on your opponent. So 130 HP, which is nice. 130 damage for the Shadow Impact attack, which is not that bad. Put 4 damage cards on one of your Pokemon. That's a nice little bonus. So essentially you're doing 170, but you have to split that up. It could be kind of annoying, but it's still not that bad at all. The ability, though, is really interesting. Once during your turn before you attack, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, you may play it onto your bench. Then put 1 damage counter on 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. You get to put 2 damage counter on any of your opponent's bench Pokemon, which is actually pretty sweet. If you have 4 of these guys, let's see. Let me see if I can do the quick math. 4 of these guys, put them onto your bench. That's 4 damage counters on 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Okay. And then if you do the Shadow Impact, that's another 4 damage counters you can put on another Pokemon, and doing the 130 to the main defending Pokemon. This is going to open up some things here, because there are, if you play Expanded, there are ways to go about this. You can play Battle Compressor, put them in there right away, and then just use the ability right then and there, which is pretty nice, especially if you're going to go first. No, if you're going second turn of the game. Now, as far as any uses in the future, there's actually a Pokemon that benefits from this greatly, and we'll talk about it here, I think, in just a couple moments. But let's just say if there was a way to just cycle like this, like just rinse and repeat this, that'll be awesome. And that's essentially what's gonna happen. But let's go ahead and move on to this one. This is another cool card, Sigilyph GX. Of all the cards too to get a GX, like this along with probably Shuckle are the most surprising cards that got a GX that I don't think anyone would have ever guessed. But anyway, what does it do? First of all, the HP of 170 is not that exciting, but it's not going to matter because it's got this awesome ability called Mirror Counter. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon GX or Pokemon EX, put damage counters on the attacking Pokemon equal to the damage done to this Pokemon. If your opponent happens to KO you with, let's say, a Buzzwole, right? 160 plus a 30, that's 190 because of the Choice Band. If it KOs you, they KO them themselves. They're doing 190 to you. You have to do 190 back to them because of this ability. They just knocked themselves out. They just messed themselves over, basically. That's kind of like super interesting. And the best part of it is that if you manage to just you leave this in the active, right? And your opponent's trying to chip you away, Max Potion. Just Max Potion the damage back. And then your opponent can't, unless they want to lose their energies. Like, you can just essentially just keep having this out there. Now, it's a good thing that it says Pokemon GX and Pokemon EX. Because if it was just damage overall by any attack from any of your Pokemon, then this would be a broken card. Because if you get knocked out by, let's say, I don't know, a Giratina or a Mewtwo or something, then that's fine. Unfortunately, you don't do the damage back to them. But I think that's why it says Pokemon GX or EX. It makes it fair. So there are ways to get around this, yes. But, I mean, what competitive decks right now are really not capitalizing, or just in general, just capitalizing on non-GX or EX? Not very many. Everything's just like all GX and EX Pokemon right now. So this is a really good ability to have. It can be shut down by Alolan Muck, which is actually kind of a problem, but not a lot of people are playing Alolan Muck right now. At least not that I've seen. Doesn't mean that it will see a rise, because we did lose the Garbodor, the Garbotoxin Garbodor that shuts down all abilities. So we'll see if there's going to be a rise in any sort of ability lock Pokemon. As far as everything else, it's okay. The 3 energies for 80 damage is not that great. The Intercept GX, 60 damage. This attack does 60 damage times the number of energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. It's okay. Again, nothing else really exciting to say about this card other than the ability. The ability is the most awesome thing. Alright, so there's the Yamask. Oh, and here we go. This is Giratina's partner. Yep, it's a strange card, but it definitely works. So, I don't even know how to say this guy's name. Cofagrigus? I don't know. I'll look it up later. But it's got an interesting attack with 2 energy, 10 base damage. Discard as many of your bench Pokemon as you like. This attack does 30 more damage for each bench Pokemon you discarded this way. Here's your rinse and repeat, guys. You have 4 Giratinas on the board. You discard all of them, which is essentially letting you do 130 damage total. But then, on your next turn, bring all the Giratina back, and then you start putting damage counters on your opponent, and then you can reuse this attack and discard those Giratina. This is your rinse and repeat. This is the cycle here. Using this Pokemon card in its attack to just discard your Giratina. Your Giratina's ability brings them back. You discard it again, and you keep doing it again and again, and every turn you are dropping 4 damage counters on 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, and still attacking the defending Pokemon for 130. This is a pretty sweet attack. I don't know what the survivability of this card is, though, because it's 120 HP, which is not ideal. You could put a Bodybuilding Dumbbells to put it up to 160, but I don't know if that's still going to be worth playing this card alone. I think it's definitely worth a test. I don't think it's going to be super competitive, super meta, but maybe a nice little rogue deck. We'll see. Yeah, this is definitely the card to play with that Giratina. Alright, let's see what else we got. We got Litwick, Lampent, and Chandelure. Interesting enough, a lot of these psychic Pokemon have ways of just putting damage counters on your opponent, but they're mostly by attack, so nothing really to invest in. Alright, Chandelure. What is it? Put 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. Not that great. Oh, this is interesting. And I think that's why there's all these damage counters going on here. Spiral of Pain, 20 damage. This attack does 20 damage times the number of damage counters on all of your opponent's Pokemon. Yeah, that could get kind of crazy there. So 2 Psychic Energy. It's on a stage 2 on some really awesome artwork. That is pretty sick though. That's like the most fierce Chandelure I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Let's give a scenario here. Tapu Koko does 20 across the board, so that's 120 damage, right? If it's a full bench and a defending Pokemon, so really you just did 12 damage counters. 20 damage times number of damage counters, so now you're doing 240. 240 for just one round of Tapu Koko? Okay, I think that's why it's on the stage 2, because otherwise, again, this would be a broken card. That's a lot of damage for just 2 energies that can easily get started up in a couple of turns. Yeah, that's pretty nuts. Is Chandelure going to see some play? Probably. I don't think that's something to just totally dismiss. Just being able to do that much damage. It's just the stage 2 is the tricky part to it. And I don't know how reliable or how valuable it's going to be to get that stage 2 up. But something to look at. Meloetta. Let's see. Miracle Harmony. Flip a coin for each of your Pokemon to have the Sing attack. This does 10 damage times the number of heads. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of Pokemon I think that have Sing anyway. So this is definitely not something worth looking into, but that's pretty much it. Part 3 will be all about the fairy types, but that is it for the psychics. So I think my favorite cards out of this are definitely the Giratina, with the ability to put damage counters when it comes back from the discard, the Sigilyph with the mirror coat or mirror counter ability, and the Cofagrigus. I don't know how to say this one properly. The one that helps Giratina rinse and repeat. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The Chandelure is worth mentioning, but that's going to be pretty much it as far as my favorite psychic types out of this set. So again, sorry for the long overdue part 2 analysis, but we are going to go ahead and keep this rolling now that I know how to do videos properly on my phone. Maybe not properly, but this will help me out catch up. Okay, this will definitely help catch up, which means that I can start doing other videos on a more more frequent basis. So if there's like a news on that day, I can just do it on that day instead of having to wait like 3 weeks. Thank you guys for being patient. Please like, subscribe, comment, do what you gotta do. I'll see y'all in the next video.